How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and we have some news from the NFL as it relates to the whole kneeling kerfuffle. I don't know why they're doing this, but they have put a freeze on their new policy. I was just talking about it. Many of you said it was too little too late. The damage had been done, but they had a policy of making the players either stand for the national anthem or stay in the locker room during the national anthem. But now they've freezed that policy. It was one guy that came out, a player in the NFL, talking about he'll take the fine regardless. He's going to go out there and exercise his rights, which you really don't have when it comes to the workplace. I mean, you have some rights, of course, as a human being, but you can't just do whatever you want to do in the workplace. You know, this is not just, total freedom of expression. If there are certain things that you're doing that are going to lose a company money or just simply don't align with what the company believes in, then they can say, okay, don't do that, or here's a penalty, and that's fine. If you agree to work in there, then you agree to those terms. But for now, I digress. Let's get into this very short article to see what it says, to see if there's a reason why they did it or whatnot. And you see the famous Colin Kaepernick and his friend Eric Reed, both of them are no longer in the NFL. Colin Kaepernick, I think it's twofold. Number one is because of his diminishing skill. The NFL, like I've said many times before, stands for not for long. You're not going to be in the league forever. He's already been in there like 6-7 years. The average career is 3.5 years. He's double that. He is an okay quarterback, but his off the field stuff, it just dwarfs his play, which is not as good as some of the top guys in the league. And Eric Reed, I don't really know how good or bad he was, but I think that his skill was, again, not enough to overtake his off the field antics that he wants to engage in, and really on the field, because these guys are right on the field doing this, which is part of the reason why the whole anthem kneeling is a problem, because people are seeing it during the game. It's different if you want to do that off the actual football field in your private time, but these guys are doing it on the field. That's causing the issue. But let's see what this article says. The National Football League announced Thursday that it will freeze its new policy requiring players to remain standing during the national anthem. That's not really 100% true. Like I said, you either must stand during the anthem or you must stay in the locker room. You have a choice. So it's not like you're forced to go out there and stand for the anthem. You have a choice. Go out there, stand for the anthem, or stay in the locker room. That's your decision to make. The NFL said in a statement that it has been working on a resolution to the anthem issue with the NFL Players Association, NFLPA, 1 week after the association filed a grievance against the league over its controversial anthem policy. Now, what can the solution be? I figured what they did was an actual happy medium. What I would have said is everybody come out and stand for the anthem. No locker room hiding, none of that. That would have been the solution for me. But they came to, and in my humble opinion, was a compromise. You can either come out, stand for the anthem, or stay in the locker room. I did look at the statement that they have here, and it's pretty interesting, not because of what the statement says, but because of who signed it or whose name is on it. Now, let's look here. You see in the top right-hand corner, you have 3 names. Let's look at the first name, Jocelyn Moore. Now, she is the EVP of Communications. And I did a little bit of background into this person. She is a black woman, and she comes from the D.C. area. Not as far as where she lived. I'm not really sure where she grew up, but I'm talking about her background education-wise. I saw her on LinkedIn, and you got a bunch of stuff dealing with liberal politicians. Washington, D.C. She worked as an assistant or intern for John D. Rockefeller, all these people that are all Democrats, Democrat. So I'm not surprised that her name is right there at the top. And like I said, they have been in Washington, D.C. in the swamp, so to speak, for a number of years. And then they come to the NFL, and now all of a sudden you got to walk back this whole anthem protest thing, which a lot of liberal Democrats would support, because a lot of them, quite frankly, are anti-American or anti-patriotism. But we'll go back to the article to finish it on out. Quote, in order to allow this constructive dialogue to continue, we have to come to a standstill agreement on the NFLPA's grievance and on the NFL's anthem policy. The NFL statement reads, No new rules relating to the anthem will be issued or enforced for the next several weeks while these confidential discussions are ongoing. So basically, during preseason and the first few weeks of the regular season, you're going to be able to kneel during the national anthem. And all that's going to do is hurt the NFL. I don't know what the NFL is thinking about. Well, I do know, but at the same time, I don't. Because on one hand, they're looking at it like a PR situation. They don't want to have any negative press because of this. They don't want to be seen as racist. They don't want to be seen as stifling civil rights or whatever. They want to be, I guess more inclusive of all people that may watch their sport. But the reality is the majority of their viewership will come from people who do not support the anthem protest. So while you're trying to appease a very small audience, you're going to alienate the larger audience. For what reason? All you're going to do is continue to lose more money. All right. And people are protesting the situation on both sides, so to speak. People that are against the anthem protest and those who are against people that are against the anthem protest. You understand what I'm saying? So basically one side supports it, the other side doesn't. But the people who don't support the anthem protest are going to be where the largest dollar amounts come from. That's going to be who you need to focus on the most. So I really don't understand the logic behind this decision. Let's continue on with the article. The NFL and NFLPA reflect the great values of America. Is that right? If you reflect the great values of America, then why even have this discussion about, well, maybe they can, protest during the national anthem? It doesn't make any sense. But let's keep going. Which are repeatedly demonstrated by the many players doing extraordinary work in communities across our country to promote equality, fairness, and justice. The statement continued. Our shared focus will remain on finding a solution to the anthem issue through mutual good faith commitments outside of litigation. But what are you really going to do? See, all you're doing right now is just kicking the can down the road. If you're going to stop the rule that went into place, you need to replace it with something right away, because the whole point of that rule was to assure the fans that people will be patriotic, or if they don't want to be patriotic, they won't shove it down your throat. That was the whole thing. But now you're going back on it during the summertime. I mean, the season will be here soon. We're what, July 20th? And what's the opening day, like September the 2nd, the 3rd? So we're only like a month and some change away. So you're going to go into the regular season with this not resolved. That's not a good thing. All you're going to do is continue to lose more and more viewers. In May, NFL owners voted to approve a policy requiring players on the field to stand during the national anthem. Players who, quote, do not stand and show respect for the flag and the anthem are subject to a fine under the policy. Under the terms of the announced policy, which was implemented after months of controversy surrounding the anthem protests, players are allowed to stay in the locker room. I'm glad they put that in there. Shout out to the Hill for not being, totally fake. President Trump has repeatedly attacked NFL players who kneel during the anthem as part of a movement sparked by former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick, protesting police brutality and racial inequality. In August 2017, Trump stoked backlash after calling for players who did not stand for the anthem to be fired, referring to such a player as a SOB. No, they had to put that in there. That's, the left. That's the general mainstream media for you. The president also slammed a new anthem policy earlier this month, saying that it's worse than allowing players to kneel. Yeah, I wouldn't quite say it's worse than having the players kneel, but I think it's a cop-out, and it's not what I want. I don't want to call it a cop-out. It's a compromise. I wouldn't do that. I would say everyone needs to stand. No locker room hiding. Come out and stand for the national anthem. What's the big deal? I think at this point, as I close, these guys who are doing the anthem protests, all they're really doing is trying to get attention, because with the NFL, you have to understand, most people, just regular civilians, don't even really know too much about the NFL. You know what I'm saying? They don't really know who is who. I got autoplay in the background. What's going on? But they don't really know who is who. They don't know who this defensive tackle is by name. All they may know is a person's number, and they may not know that. The most, visible players on the team are going to be the quarterback and the wide receiver for the most part. Maybe the running back or somebody like that, but for the most part, the quarterback, then the wide receiver, because those are going to be the main two people you see. You're going to see the quarterback throw the ball and the receiver makes a fantastic catch. That's usually how that goes. Outside of that, you don't know who these guys are. They have helmets on. You can't see them. So when they do the anthem protest, they get to be on a sideline with the cameras on them. They get attention and they get adoration from people talking about, yeah, you standing up for my rights, you fighting for black progress, all this, that, and the third. But they are not actually getting anything done. Trump extended them an olive branch and said, hey, okay, if you're out here kneeling during the national anthem, protesting police brutality, unjust sentences for black men and women, then if you have anybody that you know who is in jail that shouldn't be, that was there, they're innocent or they spent too much time in jail, just like Anne-Marie Johnson. If you know anybody like that who Kim Kardashian came to the White House and talked to the president about to free, then send me a list of people that you want me to get out, and then we'll see what we can do. But last I heard, about 2 weeks ago, was that Trump had nobody to respond to him. So this makes me believe that there's not really an issue with the so-called police brutality. It's really more about getting attention and wanting to be a victim, a perpetual victim, so much so that when someone says, hey, do you have anybody in jail that should be out? Give me a list. I'll try to get him out. You don't even do it, because that's not the point. The point is just to come out as a victim, to push your victimhood narrative, and to remain a martyr, to keep that chip on your shoulder, and to continuously get attention. Just like Malcolm Jenkins, as I close this time. He's up there holding cue cards, talking about you're not listening. Here's some stats, all this, that, and the third. Well, Malcolm Jenkins, why can't you hold up a cue card with some names on it of those you want to see released from the penitentiary? That, to me, would make the most sense. But what do you think? Do you think that this policy has been reversed, or at least frozen for the time being, because of people that are in charge of the whole situation, people that are able to actually do such a thing? I didn't think that was possible. The owners were the ones who voted on this. So I don't really know who or what entity within the NFL was able to get this frozen or reversed. Do you think it will stick? How long will it stick? If it does stick, what do you think the actual revenue loss will be from this? I know it's going to be pretty hefty, because they've already lost 20 to 30% of their revenue. That's a lot of money. When you're talking about millions of dollars, that's a lot of money in general that you have to lose, that you just can't make up. That's not being invested into a thing that can make you more money. That's not being put into an account that you can get later. That's not being put towards a person to help you get more money. No, it's just being totally lost and not recouped in any way. So the NFL is trying to protect their livelihood, and I think that the players should be on board with this, because they make the most money out of all NFL employees. But sometimes people don't really think too logically. They'll cut their nose to spite their face. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.